Hey guys, what's up? It's the Culture Detective here, investigating your favorite albums. And I've been waiting for an entire month to say this, but damn, it feels good and it rolls off the tongue. Anyway, today I'm gonna be continuing our LCD Soundsystem album review series, where I review my favorite album of 2010. Yes, it's my favorite album of 2010. This is happening. LCD Sound System. You may be kind of shocked. Oh my gosh, it's my favorite album in 2010. I mean, I guess the only album that I think may be better than this album in 2010 is Kanye West's My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. And, but still, this is my favorite album, as of the moment. And, I don't want to reintroduce LCD Soundsystem to you for the third time, but they are a dance punk band from New York. They are awesome. They are legendary, fronted by a genius producer, James Murphy. And they're really well known for their very complex percussions with different textures, their colorful grooves, catchy hooks, and extremely smart and witty and sort of funny lyrics. And every time LCD Soundsystem makes a wall of sounds and noises with all sorts of different instruments in a track, it's always eargasmic, and it's packed on this album. This album is packed with those, moments. Anyway, their debut album is pretty good. Not that great. I think it's fairly great though. But they somehow matured on their sophomore album, Sounds of Silver, which I love. I think Sound of Silver might be my favorite LCD Soundsystem album, actually. But, this one is a really, really, really close one as well, because this album, This Is Happening, sort of builds on top of Sound of Silver, sort of extends from that. And similar to Sound of Silver, it also has 9 tracks, and most of the tracks are also pretty long, 6 minutes, 7 minutes, 8 minutes long. And I sort of treat this album as a part 2 to Sound of Silver. But, it's also not really a part 2. Another thing to add is that when they are releasing this album, they said that this would be their final album, but apparently in the year 2017, they released American Dream, so we have that to look forward to. But without knowing that they're gonna actually release more albums after this one, and to think that this album is their actual last album, man, they really did deliver. They really did end their discography on a high note, because this album is spectacular. Let's start off with Dance Yourself Clean. Wow. Actually, the first LCD Soundsystem song I've ever heard, it's this track. And at first, I wasn't too impressed with it, because it was pretty quiet and minimalistic on the first 3 minutes. We get these minimalistic drum beats, James Murphy's vocals sort of being stripped back and sort of being bare, hidden in the back. And we also get these occasional faint doodly synths in the back as well. And it sort of builds up bit by bit until it hits the 3 minute mark. Around the 3 minute mark, it drops. The beat drops. Oh my gosh. This is one of the greatest beat drops ever. And this track itself is one of the best album openers ever. Period. It's extremely colorful, extremely exciting, fun, and thrilling, many other LCD Soundsystem tracks, but this one just does it to a greater extent with the build up and all. And oh my gosh, you should really see the live version of this track, where all the members of the band, when the beat drops, they are all banging their heads, dancing around, and it's just so harmonious. It's beautiful. It's absolutely stunning. And yeah, we get the very playful synths going up and down. James Murphy shouting, "Don't you want for me to wake up?" And it sounds like we entered a musical heaven of every instruments colliding with each other, sliding off of each other. It's very, very, very colorful, beautiful, very pretty. And towards the middle of the track, we get a little break where a lot of the instruments sort of get a little improv, and then at the end it just goes for one last time, and it's awesome. It's awesome, awesome, awesome. It's a long track, and it's really ambitious to put out such a long track in the year 2010, but they did it, and they nailed it. It's perfect. We also get a lot of eccentric lyrics here and there. They are sort of random, they're sort of weird sometimes, but they work so well in the song. It's just amazing. It's amazing. I'm giving this track a 10 out of 10 for sure. But the madness doesn't stop from there. We have the second track, Drunk Girls, which is also one of the promotional singles for the album. And this track is more short, more poppy, and it sort of aims to be a huge hit song, I guess. And it's a very fiery, urgent, fun, light-hearted, upbeat song. It's another awesome song from LCD Soundsystem. It's not as great as the previous track, the album opener. It sort of pales a slight, very, very slight bit in comparison, but still, I love this track as well. I love the soaring guitars, the simple drum beats. They work really well for some reason as well. And the chorus is extremely uplifting. And also, the lyrics on this track today are extremely funny. They are incredibly funny. James Murphy sort of makes a lot of comparisons between drunk girls and drunk boys. Drunk girls, they wait for an entire hour to pee. Drunk boys, they steal from the cupboards. Drunk girls, they file complaints. Drunk boys, they leave their irons in their fireplaces. And it's really funny. It is. And the music video is whack. It's whack. Yeah, I'm feeling a 9 out of 10 on this track. And then the third track is One Touch, which I didn't really go crazy about it the first time I've listened to it, which is like 3-4 years ago. 3, right? 3, 2.5? I forgot. But anyway, it grows on you. It grows on you so much. At first, we get this buzzy, static noise backdrop with some really eccentric and freaky machine bass line, and we get some occasional bleeps and bloops backing them up, and then they sort of build to a really weird, doodly, freaky melody, and it's sort of like it's sort of glitchy. And I also like that this track is relatively darker and more nocturnal than other tracks on the album, and it makes One Touch sort of a standout track because its color palette is a little more different. And I also really like the deadpan and stiff vocals. They add onto the eccentricity of the track. And the drums on this track, they are actually really thrilling and exciting. The drum solo, it's sort of like a drum solo, but it's backed by a lot of different layers of instruments. It sounds really fun, and they also sound somehow organic. It almost reminds me of the title track off of Sound of Silver, but except this is even more freaky, even more colorful, more vivid, and the production The production is fantastic, and I have to give this track another 10 out of 10 because it's just really, really good. And then we have All I Want, which also reminds me of All My Friends off of Sound of Silver, and All My Friends is one of my favorite LCD Soundsystem song, if not my favorite. But this one is sort of similar. It's equally as heartwarming, beautiful, and welcoming and friendly, except this song has a really, really heavy David Bowie Heroes vibe. Yes, oh, we can be heroes just for one day. And this song does sound similar, and you can really tell that James Murphy doesn't shy from showing his inspirations. And yeah, I love Heroes, and I love this track as well. I really love the thick, saturated, soaring, wailing guitars throughout the track. James Murphy's vocals here are actually really friendly and warm, and the pianos that's kept on being hit, they are repetitive, but they are also really, really sweet and beautiful, and we also get these atmospheric synths running through the track in a very smooth fashion, and it's another really, really beautiful track. Off of simple dance grooves and instrumentations, they can really make a really ambitious and beautiful track out of it, and I think it's awesome. There's a lot of creativity in here, and even though this track is extremely long, well, not like Swan's long, but like relatively long for a dance pop tune. It's around 8 minutes, 9 minutes, I think. I forgot, didn't check, stupid me. But it doesn't feel long at all. It's very dynamic, very fresh. And then, yeah, 10 out of 10 for this track as well. And right after, we get the track I Can Change. And, yes, I Can Change. It's probably the most straightforward song here. I mean, Drum Girls is also really straightforward, don't get me wrong. But, yeah. And its melodies are also really straightforward, really simple. It's really easy to sing along to this track. I can change, I can change, I can change, I can change. And this song is, it's a masterpiece. Yes, it's a masterpiece. Of course, it's extremely catchy, extremely fun and thrilling, but at the same time, it doesn't feel like a very punky and impulsive and aggressive thing. Not at all. In fact, it sounds very sincere, very friendly, and very humane. It's like James Murphy really meant it when he's singing to this track. Yeah, it just sounds so humane. I don't know what more I can add talking about this track other than it's great. It's a masterpiece. It's one of the best songs of the 2010s. And yeah, the very plucky, the very, it's almost hard to tell what kind of instrument it is. I think they are keys. They're keyboards, right? They're really plucky and sort of curly, almost hooky. They are almost the texture of their sound is almost a little grotesque, but in a way that it makes the song just stand out even more. It's like adding a bit of extra pepper on the plate, and this song it's very tasteful, very tuneful, and oh yeah, the very repetitive strikes of pianos and synths backing up James Murphy's vocals. Dun 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 dun. They go really well. Yes, together. Yes. And 10 out of 10 for the track as well. And then it's You Wanted a Hit, which is a more punk-esque guitar track, and it's another really long track, but again, it doesn't feel long at all. It's very fresh, it sounds very dynamic, and It has all these different phases, ups and downs, and it's ambitious. It's another ambitious track, and occasionally we get these sparkly synths. They sound pretty futuristic, not gonna lie. Also, with a very faint drum beat that sort of syncs up to this very post-punk flavored guitars, but nonetheless, it's catchy, colorful. And when it comes to the lyrics, James Murphy talks a lot about the music industry, how they really, really want a hit from LCD Soundsystem. Their requirements and expectations are kind of harsh, and lyrically, it's really well said. Not gonna lie, and overall, I think it's a really solid track. Maybe they could spice it up a little bit and make it even more dynamic, but I guess I still appreciate it. And I'm also giving this track a 9 out of 10. Yes. And then we have Pow Pow. Pow, 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 pow. It's 8.5 minutes long. It has a very, very, very cool drum beat. And it has some sparkly, eerie keys that are kind of hard to describe because they have this really weird sound. And we also get these guitar freakouts once in a while. Very, very, very Talking Heads inspired. It's a spoken word track. I don't think it's as thrilling and as fun as Losing My Edge. I think it's a little more mild, a little more mundane, but I still love the hook. I still love the instrumentations here. The musicianship is great. The lyrics, they are really whack, really weird and eccentric and freaky, but I still appreciate them for how it sort of stands out. And if I were to add another thing about this track, it's that it grows on you, even though at first it doesn't feel as great or as brilliant. It's an 8 out of 10. And then we have the penultimate track, Somebody's Calling Me, and usually the penultimate track is the least fun track, and yes, it's really true in this case. It's titled Somebody's Calling Me, and it's sort of like a slow jam track, and the production is great, okay? We get these very stiff pianos that feel really monotone, sort of synced to these finger clicking sound effects, and not really sound effects, samples, and also some other drum beats as well. And that's basically it. And then in the middle of the track, we start to get these very sharp and ragged keys. And James Murphy's vocals throughout the entire track is pretty quiet, pretty faint. This track, it feels a little more dry than the other tracks. It feels a little more static, a little more stagnant, and a little more uninteresting. But again, production is pretty great, and I guess it grows on you very, 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 very slightly. And I'm kind of feeling a 6 to a 7 on this track. But they sort of sound like you know? And we also get these, eccentric and freaky guitar snippets here and there. And then we finally get a steady beat and some really, really nice guitar chords and James Murphy singing in a very warm and welcoming way. And in the middle of the track, we also get the Dance Yourself Clean callback, a mini reprise. I think that's pretty genius, pretty brilliant as well.
Just do it right, make it perfect and real.
And it's just a very perfect way to end off the album. There's no better way to end off this album than this track. It's the perfect ending, and I'm just giving it a 10 out of 10. So, that's all I have to say for this album. I think if you have a lot of patience, and if you have a lot of love for dance music, post-punk music, electronic music, electropop music, then you'll definitely enjoy this album, and this album may be your favorite album of 2010 as well. And yeah, this album is also one of my favorite albums of the decade. Definitely going to end up in my top 20 of the decade. By the end of 2019, I'm going to be making a top 100 albums of the decade video. So it's going to be on there. And that's all I have to say. My favorite track here is Dance Yourself Clean. And my least favorite is Somebody's Calling Me. I am giving LCD Soundsystem's This Is Happening a 9 out of 10. So, have you listened to LCD Soundsystem's This Is Happening? From 1 to 10, how much did you rate it? Like if you like it. And subscribe if you want more. And thanks for watching. Really. Seriously. Yep. Bye. Ariana Grande, thank you. Next. Coming up, Shoo Shoo, Girl with Basket of Fruit, The Twilight Sad, Malibu Ken, Maggie Rogers, and I may also review the Health album sometime soon.